us easing back into old routines. Only now, with extra care. Let's do it for ourselves, for our loved ones, for everyone's safety.
Hurry up, let's go. Let's go.
And staying safe starts at home.
Nice.
From how we work and learn, to the little ways we find joy. If you must head out, take extra care. Making a small effort, being mindful, they go a long way to keeping us all safe. The health of all depends on each one of us. So let's work together, using new tools and keeping to our new habits to protect the people we love. At work, let's all be good team players.
Hi, good morning. How are you? Good.
A little distance between us today will be good for us all tomorrow. A little care can protect the one thing that means the world to us. So let's do our part.
The views and opinions expressed by the speaker, host, commentator, or other third party in ARIVA webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass are those of the speaker, host, commentator, or third party and do not necessarily reflect and represent the views and opinions of ARIVA. Furthermore, ARIVA does not warrant, express, or imply the merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose of any product information, service, or process presented by the speaker, host, commentator, or third party, and ARIVA specifically disclaims any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any product information, service, or process presented. Finally, material or information presentation, opinion, process, or service by, on any trade name, trademark, manufacturer, or otherwise during ARIVA webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass do not constitute or imply ARIVA's endorsement or recommendation of such opinion, process, service, item, or organization.
Good morning. Welcome to ARIVA Academy's free live webinar using the ISO 56002 Innovation Management System. I'm Kate and I'll be with you the whole morning as your host, and I am excited to learn with everyone. I am really excited about our topic and to listen to our two speakers today. Now, before I introduce them, I have a few reminders to make sure that our program will run smoothly the whole day. ARIVA is committed to protecting your privacy, hence stricter security of this webinar has been implemented. So for better viewing of your Zoom experience, we encourage you to please update your Zoom application by visiting their website. And for those of you who are using their mobile gadgets to view this webinar, you can go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store so you can download and install the Zoom app. Now, I want to know who here is joining an ARIVA Academy webinar for the first time. If it's your first time, can you type hi in the chat box? And also let us know where you are right now. I'm here in Pdca City in Metro Manila, and we're having a very beautiful morning. I was informed that we have a lot of participants who are watching us from out of town. So we have friends who are from Laguna, from Cavite, Rizal, Bulacan, Batangas, Quezon Province, Camarines Sur, Bataan, Pampanga, Zambales, Olongapo City, Ilocos Norte, wow, Tarlac, Isabela, all the way from Tuguegarao, Baguio City, Lawag, Oriental Mindoro, Occidental Mindoro, Puerto Princesa, from Iloilo, from Antique, from Dumaguete, from Capiz, Bacolod, from Leyte, from Negros Oriental, from Cotabato, wow, Misamis Occidental, from Cebu, from Davao, Davao del Sur, from Jensan, from Coronadal, and from Maguindanao. Good morning, Philippines, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And we also would like to greet our participants who are watching us from out of the country. We have participants viewing us from Indonesia, from Cambodia, and from United Arab Emirates. Hello there. I hope you're all having a beautiful day. And hi to our participants here in the chat box. From Quezon City, from Bacoor, from Pangasinan. Hi, Christine, who's in Tacloban. Maupay nga aga. From Pangasinan, Diane, hello. From Pagadian City, hi, Alexander. Good morning to you. Hi, Mika, who is in Palawan. Merville is in Catanduanes. John Adam, hello, from Quezon City. From Sibuyan, Romblon, hello. Hi, Roseanne, who's just in Makati. Hello there. Good morning. Wintrix is in Cagayan Valley. We have Diane who is in Batangas. Rochelle in Bulacan, and Erica from Pasay. Good morning. Good morning. Now, let us do an audio check. Let's do an audio check. Oh yes, we don't want to forget our speakers and our participants from Dubai and USA as well. You'll get to know them later. Okay, let's do an audio check. I want to make sure that once our speakers are on screen, you will be able to hear their discussion clearly. So please type 111 here in the chat box if you can hear me loud and clear. You can also type 222 if you can't hear anything. 2121 if you can hear me, but the sound is choppy, laggy, or it's breaking up. You can also type question mark if you don't understand what is happening. We'll try to help you out. Okay, so far I am seeing 111s. I think I saw some 2121s and 222s a while ago. If you're having trouble with your audio, please ask assistance from your office if you have a tech team there, so that you won't be missing any part of the discussion later. Okay, so later we'll have a 10-minute break. Instead of a 5-minute break, we'll have a 10-minute break. That will be at around 10:30, and we'll be announcing that later. Now, participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by our administrator during the discussion to avoid interruptions. But for those of you who might have questions, we'll allow the Q&A portion. During that time, click the raise hand button. Will allow you to unmute yourself and ask your question directly to our speaker. You can also type your questions here in the chat box and we'll be reading them. Now, an e-certificate of attendance will be awarded to participants who will successfully complete the entire virtual masterclass, and they will be available 3 to 5 days after the e-learning session. Please help us build and improve our service with your comments and feedback. You can scan this QR code that will bring you to the feedback form. At the end of our session later, please fill out the form and then send it back to us. We'll greatly appreciate it. Okay, so now I am excited to introduce our two speakers. But before that, I would like to invite everyone to please turn on their cameras. This will be proof of your attendance. So please turn on your cameras all throughout our sessions. Join me as we welcome our speakers. Let me introduce them. One of our speakers is the Chief Executive Officer of Harrington Management Systems. In the book Tech Trending, he was referred to as the quintessential tech trender. The New York Times referred to him as having a knack for synthesis and an open mind about packaging his knowledge and experience in new ways, characteristics that may matter more as prerequisites for new economy success than technical wizardry. The author, Tom Peters, stated, "I fervently hope that Harrington's readers will not only benefit from the thoroughness of his effort, but will also smell the fundamental nature of the challenge for change that he mounts." William Clinton, past president of US, appointed him to serve as an ambassador of goodwill. It has been said about him, he writes the books that other consultants use. He now serves as the Chief Executive Officer for Harrington Management Systems. He also serves as the chairman of the board for a number of businesses, and he also serves as the chairman of Walter L. Hurd Foundation. Now, our other speaker for today is a thought leader with more than 20 years of experience in multiple sectors, regions, and industries. He is the chair of the United States ISO Working Group on Innovation Management System Standard and member of the ISO SC42 Joint Committee in charge of developing a set of international standards on artificial intelligence. He advises senior government leaders and executive teams in the MENA region on issues related to exponential technologies, innovation, and digital transformation. His latest publication is a contribution on artificial intelligence and robotics, in which he addresses the U.S. National AI Strategy, published by Taylor and Francis. He is a certified Chief Innovation Officer from the Global Innovation Institute and holds a PhD from the University of Minnesota. Currently, he advises Dubai government and teaches at Carlson School of Management, University of Minnesota, USA. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our speaker, Dr. James and Dr. Sid. Let's give them a round of applause, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Dr.
Good morning,
Sid.
Kate. Good morning, Kate, and good morning, everybody. Welcome to this session. It's an honor for me to be with you today. I am very excited to see so many faces from the great country of Philippines. Excited to learn about innovation and how we can think of innovation in our companies and organizations so we're able to do well. I'm going to ask Jim also to say hi and to welcome all of you. Jim, go ahead. The mic is yours if you want to say a word to welcome the participants.
Well, we're certainly excited to have a chance to share our information with the Philippines. Certainly, it's a country we've long cherished and worked very closely with. And we want to thank everybody for showing up. And with that, I won't use your time, so it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Jim. I think, Kate, if you could just give me a thumbs up. I just shared my screen. If you could please let me know if
We can see it.
Perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful. Then this is what I would like to suggest to you this morning. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about innovation and what we are doing at the International Organization for Standardization to help managers, leaders, and companies and organizations think of innovation as a strategy and think of innovation as something that the organization can do. Just an overview. A brief overview of what ISO is. The International Organization for Standardization is an international organization. There are more than 150 countries that are member of this great organization, including the Philippines, the great country of Philippines. And one of the things that this organization does, it creates a standard for people like yourself and myself to understand each other and to work with each other. One of the best quotes I always use from ISO is the one that you see on the upper left side of my screen, which says, "Great things happen when the world agrees." And that's very, very true. When we agree on certain things, how we do things, all the great things that you see in the world happening. The very fact that you can understand me now and I can connect to this wonderful Zoom chat and Zoom platform, and then Kate can play all this music in the background and make us excited about our work. The fact that we're all doing that, and I see that more than 200 people sitting in this room, the fact that we can do that is simply because we all work with the same standard. When an application such as Zoom develop its own technical specificity, they go back to a standard, and that standard is a world standard, is a global standard that all engineers can work with. You can think of many, many things that use this standard ideas, and you will find that only beautiful and great things happens. You can think of the idea of how a pilot who is flying from a city in Manila or a city in Philippines and flying all the way to San Francisco can land an aircraft that has more than 300 people safely in the airport of San Francisco. Well, because that pilot can speak the same language and can use the same technical specificity that any other pilot can use, or the airport in LA and the airport in Manila can use and can talk to each other. So that's the beauty of a standard. We have now more than 3,000 standard in many, many fields, in many, many areas, and perhaps probably the most known standard that you're all familiar with is the 9001. This is the basic standard. This is the standard that democratized equality all over the world. And this is a standard that many, many, many organizations in manufacturing, in service, in finance use to improve the quality of their product and to improve the quality of their service. So that's the great things that ISO does. And that's how we can all benefit from it. Of course, one of the things that I have been involved with is working with other colleagues from other countries on developing a new standard that we call the ISO 56002 Innovation Management. This is what I will be talking about today. Mainly, I will be talking about how this standard helps you as a manager, as a company owner, as an employee, on how you can develop an innovative culture inside your organization. So I'll talk about this standard, and then I'll talk a little bit about the new standard. The standard mostly I will be talking about today, the 56002, has been already published in 2019 after 4 years of hard work with other colleagues from other countries. The standard that we are working on now and that will be published in 2023 is a new standard, which is called 56001. I call this standard a game changer. Why a game changer? Because it is going to change many, many rules in the field of innovation, and it will allow organizations to be more involved and more engaged with innovation. And then finally, I will share with you what we do at Harrington Management System. This is our company that Jim has been leading for the last 10, 15 years. And I have been involved with it, so we are able to help other companies develop framework for performance management, for innovation, and for many, many other things. But before that, let me just talk about why innovation and why now. Why there are 200 people in this session, all have dedicated 2 hours today to learn about innovation. What's in it that is allowing or that is inviting people like yourself, countries, government, managers, leaders, wanting to learn more about innovation? What does innovation add to your organization? What does innovation add to your economy as a country? What are the good things that we can see about innovation? And what are also some of the challenges if we wanted to build an innovation management system at the organization level or at the country level? What are some of the things that we have to think about first, then address some of their consequences? Before I get into this, Kate has done a very good job in introducing both of us, but I wanted to briefly to share with you this slide. Jim, my friend and my mentor and my colleague, has been in the field of quality performance management and innovation for some time. He wrote more than 50 books on performance management and process improvement and innovation. And I selected here only the top 6 books that he has written. Perhaps the most important achievement of Jim is that he led the ASQ, the American Society for Quality, for many years. He was a chairman and the president of the International Academy. Those are very, very strong achievement that I'm very proud to be with him. He is also a level A member of the ISO TC 176. This is another technical committee within ISO that wrote the ISO that I spoke about earlier, the 9000 quality systems standard, and another committee that wrote also another standard, important standard on environmental issues, and that's the 14,000. So it's been a pleasure and honor to be associated with Jim and work with him. As Kate said, and as myself said, I have been involved with Working Group 1 on Innovation 56002. I am currently advising Dubai government on innovation in the United Arab Emirates. I consult in Foresight digital transformation and artificial intelligence, and I work particularly on the dimension of trustworthiness. Trustworthiness is a huge issue now for artificial intelligence. I am sure that you have all heard and worked perhaps with applications on artificial intelligence. But there is one big issue that we all have to think about, which is how can we develop a system that will allow us to trust, innovate, trust artificial intelligence, and provide the provider of these applications with all our data and information. Of course, I taught, as Kate said, at Carson School of Management in the US and at the Mohammed bin Rashid School of Government in Dubai. So let me start by, first of all, sharing with you this slide, which talks a little bit about the innovation management family. The innovation management family is made of many standards, and there are about 8 standards that either have been published or are in the making. And all these standards, they help managers and organizations conceive and develop a management system that allow the organization to take advantage of the many good things of innovation. So we have, first of all, the ISO 56000, which was published in 2020. This is a fundamental standard. What it does, it provides vocabulary and terminologies, and it defined what we mean by innovation, what we mean by a management system, what we mean by a process, what we mean by many things. Then you have the 56002, which was published in 2019. And this is a general standard that talks about how a company can put together a system that can talk to other systems and allows the organization to create opportunity of innovation for innovators. This is the standard I will be talking about today. Then you have another standard, 56003, which was published in 2019. And this standard talks about partnership. How do you create partnership? What are the fundamental principles that will allow you to connect or to choose your partner? What are some of the best practices that you can think of? What is the framework that you need to put together in order to create a partnership between your own organization and other organizations as well? Then you have the 56002, which was also published in 2019. And this one allows you or teach you or show you how you can assess an innovation management system. You can say that I have an innovation management system, but if you do not assess it, or if you don't have a framework in place that allows you to assess this innovation management, then most likely you will not get any results, you will not get any feedback, and you will not understand, or you will not be able to see if innovation is working or not. And then you have a set of other standards. Those are standards either in the making or will be published in the future. And one of them is innovation and IP management. How do you manage intellectual property? How do you protect your intellectual property? Another one is how do you build a strategic intelligence management, meaning how do you gather insights and how do you gather information about the company, the product, the service you're trying to develop. And another standard on idea management internally inside the organization, how you can develop a process that allow you to manage your ideas. And then finally, how do you measure your operations? So all these standards, they form what we call the ISO innovation family. And as I said in my introductory remark, in 2023, we are going to publish a new standard, which will be called Innovation Management System, and that would be, the number will be different. The number will be 56001, and this number means a lot for people who know a standard. Any standard that has number 1 is a mandatory standard, meaning if you are an organization that is claiming to have a quality system or claiming to have an environmental protection system or claiming to be innovative, then it should have the number 1, either the 9001 certification or the 56001, which will be published in the future standard certification. Now, as of now, the standard we are talking about and the standard that is out there, it's simply a guidance. You don't have to implement it. You can simply get inspired about it and from it, and then decide what you want to do with it. The new standard we are working now to publish in 2023 will be mandatory. So if you are telling me that my organization is innovative and is compliant with ISO standard, then I need to certify you on 56001, not 56002. And one of the things that Jim and I do in the Harrington Management System is we help organization to get certified. We also certify organization, and we give you a certificate that says that you are in compliance with the intent of the standard. And this is something that, first of all, helps you to develop innovative practices, but also gives you certain recognition in the field, so you are able to say that my organization is an innovative organization. Let me now move to some details about the standard that I will be talking about, which is, again, the 56002. This standard has about 1,000 statement or 1,000 lines or clause, and it's divided into 10 sections. And each section talks about specific things. So there is the introduction that gives you an idea about what the standard is. Then there is another section that talks about the context. Then there is another section that talks about leadership. Then there is another section that shows you how you can move into the planning of different innovation activities. Then there is another section that talks about support. How can you provide support to your innovators, creative mind, and different managers engaged in innovation? Then there is another section that shows you how you can manage different operations in the innovation process. Then there is another section that shows you how you can evaluate and assess the performance of your innovation system. And then finally, how you can provide improvement to the system. So the first observation we can share now is that ISO 56002 follow the same high-level structure of the ISO 9001. All the standard that we have, most of them in ISO, they follow always the same structure. And there is a reason behind that. So we don't confuse managers, we don't confuse organizations. So you can have those standards talk to each other, and you can link those standards. So all the standards have this high-level structure, which is an intro, context, leadership, planning, support, operation, performance, and improvement. In the book that Jim and myself have written, we talk about the template of the standard, but we add more of finding, we add more of research, we add more of best practices and trend that impact innovation management systems. So we tell you at the outset what are the things that you have to pay attention to in order to be able to develop a very performant innovation management system. We also, in our consulting, we help you how to develop that system. So let me start with these sections and explain them to you one by one. The first section, which is the introduction section, talks about innovation principles. And it follows also, it explains also the template that we follow in this standard, which is called the Pdca cycle. This is a very known cycle. This is a very famous cycle in the ISO language and in the management language and terminology. And I will talk about it at the very end of this discussion. It's basically plan, do, check, and act. Plan, you plan your activities, you plan your ideas, you plan your innovation management system. Do, which is the implementation of your planning. If you say, I am going to create an innovation system, so that's the planning, then you are going to do it, and that's the do. And then the check. Always when you do something, you check, and then finally, of course, you do the assessment, so you are able to get an idea about whether the system works or not. And that's very intuitive. That's very basic about human nature. Anything you want to do, if you want to cook, or you want to go out, or you want to buy a car, you think of it, first of all, that's the planning. Then you do, that's basically buying the car or cooking. And then you check, you want to make sure that actually you have the ingredient and you added the ingredient that you want if you are cooking, or you want to actually check if you are buying the car that you got actually the right car and you got the right model you are looking. And then you make an assessment about your experience. Did I have a good meal? Did I buy a good car? Did I learn from this experience? What can I transfer from this experience into a future learning? That's the cycle, if you will, of any management issue. So section 1 of the standard talks about this. But perhaps the most important thing that this section talks about is the principles of innovation. And when we talk about the principles of innovations, those are principles you do not negotiate, as my friend Jim always says. You need to talk about 4 or 5 principles that are critical to the organization. The first principle is what we call value realization. Value realization is important for an organization. And what that principle helps you to understand is simply learning and telling your employees that the reason you have invested in putting together an innovation management system is not simply to show the world that you have a management system, but actually to create value and to realize value and to have an impact. So if you are trying to make a product, to make computers, then we need to see more innovative computers. And if you are in the tourism and you want to be more innovative in your service, then we need to see more innovative services. And if you are a government agency and you are trying to provide your citizens with more innovative services, then we need to see those innovative services. So any innovation that does not impact the value of the organization, any innovation system that does not add value to the organization, that system does not mean anything. So you need to understand this principle and you need to teach your employees about this principle. The second principle is what we call a future-focused leaders. Innovation comes from the challenges and the needs that you have to solve, but also innovation comes from the prospective nature of your leadership. If your leadership is vested into the future, if your leadership is interested about the future, if your leadership wants to beat the future competition, then you need to have a focus on the future. What are the future trends that will impact our technology? What are the global trends in terms of economic trends, technological trends, social trends, demographic change that will impact our company, will impact my organization that I have to pay attention to? Then the next principle is the strategic direction. Any innovative practice that does not relate to the strategic direction of the organization, then it probably is not going to work. If you want your system to work, if you want your employees to be innovative, then it is critical to link innovation to the strategic direction of the organization. Define what is your strategy. This is the North Star that we all talk about in business schools. Tell me what you want to achieve, and then tell me how you are going to achieve this through innovative products, innovative practices. Culture is very important, and culture is the DNA of your organization. So it's very important that you pay attention to the culture. You can have all the innovation practices that you may want, but if the culture of the organization does not support that, if people are not engaged with you, if you are not paying attention to the behavior of many of your employees and your personnel, then perhaps you have not done a very good job in creating a culture of innovation. And I will give you some examples later about what we mean by the culture. Then the next principle is what we call exploiting insights. Innovation is always something that comes to respond to a specific need. As Steve Jobs always says, you need to get in the head of your customer, figure out what the customer wants or what the customer needs, figure out the challenge that the customer is going through, and then figure out how you can respond to this challenge. Your ability to exploit information, to exploit data, to exploit insights, either through the customer service department or through the surveys or through focus groups or through your conversation with different customers, figure out what are the challenges that your customer is going through and how you can exploit these challenges and convert them into a solution that your customer will find it of interest to them. And then the next principle is the management of uncertainty. I don't think I have to go into many details to explain to you what uncertainty means. If you look at the last 4 years of our lives, we all has been through this very uncertain time, starting with the COVID pandemic to the post-COVID pandemic to the global recession that is going to affect the world, which has almost become a certainty now that the world is going to enter a slowdown, which will impact many organizations, many companies, many countries, and many employees. So we have been going through this uncertainty for the last 3 and 4 years. And the difference between this uncertainty and other uncertainties that we have gone through is that this type of uncertainty has impacted everybody. So everybody now knows what uncertainty means. We couldn't plan our travel. We couldn't plan our trips. We couldn't plan whether we can buy a ticket, airline ticket or not. We couldn't plan whether we can find a hotel in a different country or not. We didn't know. We couldn't plan whether we are going back to work or not. So all of these things are what we call uncertainties. And you needed to train yourself. You needed to train your employees. You needed to train your management to work in these uncertain times. The VUCA world, if you will, is also another concept we can explain. So your ability to manage innovation is when you are able to manage uncertainty, because innovation by definition is uncertain. When you tell me I am going to research this product, I am going to develop an R&D program for this product, you tell me you are going to innovate, I do not have any guarantee that will tell me that 100% you are going to get this outcome. And that's what you need to live with. That's what you need to train your employees to know about. You need to teach them and to help them and be comfortable in saying, I don't know. I am going to figure out. I am researching, so I am able to find out this problem. And if you are able to train your employees about this type of mindset, then you have trained them on how to deal with uncertainty and how to manage uncertainty. And then the final principle is the adaptability. Adaptability is a great principle. It also speaks to the agile mindset of the organization. And it gives me an idea about how flexible your system and how flexible your organization is. And then finally, the system approach. And in the system approach, we're simply looking at how you can connect your HR function with marketing function, with IT function, with sales function, with personnel function, how you can look at innovation from a system point of view that is linking innovative practices to other practices and other systems as well. In the book, this comes directly from our book. We give you a template on how you can find out, if you will, about the value realization. I just picked the first principle, and we give you some very specific questions on how you can identify those, whether your system impact the value realization or not. So 5 questions for you to ask to define value realization and customer insights. And if you go to our book, you will find, again, those 5 questions, and perhaps you can start by building those principles by asking those very simple questions, so you know whether you are able to do them or not. Now, let me step out for a minute from my book and just give you this map. This is a very interesting map. It should be of great interest to you. This map gives you an idea about where the country of Philippines is ranked in terms of innovation. There are many organizations in the world that do a ranking of innovation or the performance of innovation ecosystem. And in this ranking, you can see that Philippines is classified or ranked 51 out of 132. This is a very good score. This is a wonderful score that tells me that Philippine people, Philippine companies, Philippine universities and research centers are focused on innovation, and they want to be innovative. And that's something that is very, very good news. This GII ranking system, the Global Innovation ranking system, is built on 7 indicators, institutions, meaning universities and governments and ministries and other local and decentralized organizations, the human capital, the infrastructure, the market sophistication, how sophisticated your market, your credit, your banking system, et cetera, your business sophistication. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the business sophistication, how good your companies are in managing innovation, how good the private sector is well vested in innovation, and then the knowledge and technology output, and then, of course, the creative output, the creative that comes in the form of knowledge economy in terms of software, platforms, books, writing, codes, all that stuff that we talk about. You can see on my list the top 10 countries: Switzerland, Sweden, US, UK, South Korea, and all the countries that you can see on my screen: Netherlands, Finland, Singapore, Denmark, and Germany. Those are the countries that this ranking or this global innovation index believes that they have the fundamentals, they have the ingredients, they have the ecosystem that makes them innovative organization. Of course, this is a macro view. This is not talking about your company. This is not talking about your organization, but we're talking about the overall country. And then you can see other countries here, of course, and some of these countries are going up and some of them are going down. If you take Japan, for instance, on the right on my screen, you see that Japan gained 13 points from the last innovation survey. But if you go to Hong Kong, you see that they lost 3 points from the last survey. And countries go up and down based on what they do and what types of legislation and legal things they do, but also what type of institutions they have. I thought I should share this with you so I can create a context for you so you can understand what innovation means for you as a country, what innovation means for you as a manager of organization, and what innovation means for you as an employee working for an organization or wanting to work for a company, or simply as a student trying to understand more these complexities. Let me stop here for 1 minute just to allow you to reflect and digest what I have said so far. And I am going to give you a small assignment. It's only a 3-minute assignment. I want you to think of your organization, the company you work for, or the government organization you work for, and then tell me what principles you believe are in your organization. What are some of the things that you can see in your own organizations? And just to remind you, this is the list of the principles. Have you seen these principles in your organization? Do you see them? Do you see your senior leadership preaching about them and applying them and implementing them? I'm going to give you 5 minutes. I'm going to ask Kate and her team if you could monitor the chat room and then give me maybe 1 or 2 examples. Write the principle that you believe your organization has into the chat room, and you have only about 5 minutes to do that. Go ahead, the floor is yours now.
Okay, to our participants, type your answers here in the chat box. We'll be reading them in a little while. You have 5 minutes.
The mic back, Kate, if you don't mind. I can see myself the chat room, and I'm very excited that I see a lot of those principles. So I'm very impressed with what you guys are saying and what you are doing. I see a lot of principles, systems, future-focused leaders, strategic directions, culture, management of uncertainty, system approach, adaptability. So that's very good. If your organization is doing all of that stuff, so that's you are on the right track, you are on the right path. And that tells me that you have an organization that believes in innovation, and those principles are what will make your organization a creative one. Let me move now to the next slide. And in the next slide, we talk about, the standard talks about the necessity to look at the context of the organization. And when we talk about the context of the organization, we talk about the stuff that is happening around the organization, but also the stuff that is happening inside the organization. And we want to talk about the stuff that is happening around the organization, because innovation is an extremely complex function. Innovation is not easy. Innovation is complex because it involves many things. It involves the creative mind, a good senior leadership, incentives inside the organization, and excitement from the individual, a connection with research and R&D labs, a connection with technology, a connection with the customer, a bright mind, all these little things that are very difficult to align are needed for innovation, and sometimes very complex to have them. That is why in the standard we talks about the need to understand the context of the organization and to help your employees make sense of what's going on around the organization. So when you understand the organization and its context, am I actually in a context that is in an environment that is relatively stable, or it's an environment that is changing where there are a lot of disruptions? If you take, for instance, the world of technology, if you are a company like Apple or your Google or your Facebook or your any of these companies, the world has been going through many disruptions in the last 15 and 20 years. And those disruptions, they are redefining and reshaping the way we look at innovation. So you needed to explain to your employees this context, and you needed to help them make sense of this context so you are able to connect and to figure out what you need to do. You need also to make an effort to understand the needs and the expectations of all the stakeholders. And when we talk about stakeholders or interested parties, it's critical for you that you identify them. Every company has different stakeholders. My organization, the Harrington Management System, has different stakeholders than your organization or than a typical university or a government agency. So a good deal of work needs to happen by identifying who are these stakeholders, what are their needs, how I can tailor my solution to these stakeholders, what I can do to help them figure out the need, etc., etc. And another thing that relates to the context is, of course, you need to understand the scope of the innovation management system. Remember the Plan, Do, Check, Act, the PDCA form that we talked about. In the planning, you need to define what will be the scope of the innovation management system. Is it going to be an entire system for the entire organization? Suppose that you have an organization that has more than 20,000 employees, or it's going to focus on a specific segment like the R&D function or the research center. So you need, again, to define the scope of this innovation management. And all these ideas, you find them in section 4, the context of the organization. And in our book, we talk and we help you, we give you examples on how you can understand the context of the organization, what you need to do to understand the context, what are some of the tools and the framework you can use to understand the context. We also help you with some thoughts on the Foresight Model. The Foresight Model, this is a model that looks at the future and tells you what are the questions that you needed to ask. We also talk about the Cultural Change Model. This is another model that Jim has written about quite a lot, and it teaches you how you can engage in different change initiatives. Then it comes to the section on leadership. And the section on leadership is critical because it identifies the type of behavior leadership needs to have in order to be able to develop an innovation management system. Commitment is very important. Focus on value realization, the vision, the strategy, and of course, the communication of the strategy. These are the fundamentals of leadership action, and leadership behavior will not be able to achieve its goals unless there is a commitment. Everything starts from the top. If you have been working in your organization, you probably know this already. You know that there is nothing that can happen at the bottom if you don't have a vision, if you don't have a strong commitment from the top leadership. And the top leadership need to make innovation management system a priority. They needed to make this priority focus on the value realization. They need to tell you about what they want the organization to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They needed to show you the North Star and how we can create an innovation management system that help you change or achieve this vision. And you need to have, of course, the strategy. Let me actually focus or talk briefly here. In our book also, we show you what are the different things that you need to do in order to be able to gauge whether your leadership is engaged or not. We have this sections in our book where we give you the questions that you have to ask. Those are questions you can write down, and you can do a yes or no, like I did with you this morning. So this 5 questions will help you to gauge your leadership engagement, and you want to know whether your leadership is engaged or not. Before I do this, let me actually talk a little bit about the type of innovation strategy. Remember, I said that leadership is about the vision, is about the strategy, is about the commitment. So I want to explain to you briefly what we mean by innovation strategy. We divide innovation strategy into 4 buckets or 4 types of strategies. What we call incremental innovation, disruptive innovation, breakthrough innovation, and transformational innovation. These are 4 types of innovation. The standard does not talk about that. The standard does not define those 5 buckets of innovation, but we do in the book, and I am going to explain them to you, because you are going to ask me questions, say, okay, Dr. Sid, what type of innovation we're talking about? Well, innovation that is incremental, it's simply an innovation that will add small changes and small improvement to a product that you already have. And the goal here is simply to sustain your market position, but also add some other things to your product as well. And the best example to understand what we mean by incremental innovation is the difference perhaps between iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus, iPhone 10 and iPhone 11, iPhone 11 and iPhone 13, and iPhone 13 and iPhone 14. Same concept, same customer, same features, but we are each time we're adding more. What's the difference between a BMW 3 Series and BMW 7 Series, BMW 5 Series and BMW M Series? So these are incremental changes that the company adds or uses, so it keeps the market, it keeps the customer, but also it gets the customer excited about the future. Then you have the breakthrough innovation. Breakthrough innovation is different from incremental innovation because it brings something new. It brings something that we have not seen before. It changes the business model. And the best example, of course, is the Airbnb business model, which has put into question a model that has been working for the last maybe 2 or 3 centuries in modern era. So the concept of Airbnb is a very, very transformational in the sense that it brought a new innovation to the world. And you can think of many, many examples. COVID vaccine itself is a breakthrough innovation, because what it did in less than 2 years, we were able to come up with a new product. This vaccine that usually it takes between 5 to 12 years to develop, we were able to develop in 2 years, and that's what we mean again by a breakthrough innovation. Then you have a disruptive innovation. Disruptive innovation is a type of innovation that disrupt the incumbent. So always change what is going on in the market, and it allows for the person or the company or the organization that comes up with this concept of disruptive innovation to create a disruption in the market, in the sense that you reorient, if you will, the market, or if you change the direction of the market. A good example here is simply the Google map that we are all using on our phone, the GPS system, which has disrupted what we have seen before in terms of maps. And then the transformational innovation. The transformational innovation is a form of innovation that transforms an entire industry, an entire market, and the entire society. You can think, for instance, of the internet in the 90s as a transformational innovation. You can think, for instance, as a platform such as Facebook is a transformational innovation. You can think of cryptocurrency as a form of transformational innovation. You can think of blockchain as a good example of a transformational innovation. Transformational innovation, maybe it does not appear as a transformational in the moment, but when you look at it in the long term, 5 to 10 years, then you can see as this technology or this innovation as a transformation. And in the book, we give you again some tools so you can identify your vision of innovation, whether you fit into the transformational, incremental, or other ideas as well. There are also some tools that you can find in the book, and all these tools, of course, help you to understand what we mean by different innovation management system. I'm going to stop here for a minute. I think Kate is going to take over, I believe, for another break, if I understand this correctly. And while you are in the break, I want you to go back to the context of the organization. I want you to look at your own organization, to your own company, and try to tell me what are some of the challenges that your organization is going through. Name at least 3 challenges and write them in your chat box. These challenges could be anything that you believe will be of a challenge that your company has to figure out. And you always start with this challenges because it allows you to understand the context of your organization. So I'm going to give you this to do during the break that Kate is going to manage. I'm going to be off camera and off mic for about 3 to 4 minutes. Work on this assignment while Kate is doing what she needs to do. So Kate, is the mic, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. Okay, so for this, we'll give you 3 minutes to do that, and then after I'll come back so that I will be doing my announcement. So we'll give you 3 minutes to do this. Okay, thank you, everyone. See you after 3 minutes. Okay, good morning again, everyone. I'm seeing a lot of answers here in the chat box. We'll be reading them in a little while. Now, moving on to our break time, I mentioned a while ago that we're doing something this morning during our break, and we're doing something exciting because ARIVA Academy is in the mood to give away prizes to our lucky participants. So we'll have two winners who will be receiving 200 pesos. That will go straight to your GCash account. So I hope you guys are excited. This is our game this morning. It's called Guess the Movie. So who here are movie buffs? If ever you are, you have a big chance in getting the prize. I am seeing a lot of smiling faces from our participants. Looks like you guys are very excited. So this is how the game goes. We'll be showing you short clips or short trailers of a certain movie. Now, this is what you have to do. You have to type the complete and correct title of that movie here in the chat box. If you're the first one to do that, you get 200 pesos. Okay, so for you guys to get the feel of the game, let's do a trial run. Okay, this is just a sample. There's no prize yet, but I want you to start guessing the title of this movie.
Comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room.
There, that was fast. And I am seeing a lot of answers here already in the chat box. Very fast also. You guys type very fast. Let me just go back in the chat box. Okay, answers I got. Sin City, Devil Wears Prada, Devil Wear Prada, The Devil Wears Prada. Some are typed without spaces. I think because you were typing very fast. But let's reveal what's the title of that movie. It is The Devil Wears Prada. Okay, so the first one who was able to type it correctly was Jacqueline. But before her, there were a few of our participants who typed the answers, but the spelling was wrong or it lacks a word. I mentioned a while ago it should be complete and correct. So you have to be careful with the spelling, and all the words should be included for you to get the 200 pesos. Okay, so I hope you got that already, because this next clip will give you 200 pesos if ever you get it right. Let's watch it.
I saw water, death by water. And I saw new life. A great flood is coming. We build a vessel to survive the storm. We build an ark.
Mama! There's... them!
Okay, really? Our participants have fast fingers. You guys type very, very fast. Here are the answers that I got from our participants. Aquaman. Aquaman, 2 words, and there's Aquaman, that's just 1 word. There's Noah, there's No Way. There's Thor, Man of Steel. It's a lot of answers. Noah, Aquaman. Let's reveal what is the title of that movie. It is Noah. Noah. So we have our first winner. We have Johan Perlas. Johan, congratulations. You are our first winner. You will receive 200 pesos from ARIVA Academy. This is what you have to do. Send your GCash account number to ARIVA Academy Philippines here in the chat box and wait for your prize. Again, send your GCash account number. Please send it to us privately, okay? Don't send it to everyone. Just send it to us privately and wait for your prize. And congratulations. But now, because you've won already, let's give chance to your other co-participants, okay? You won't be able to join the game anymore because you already have a prize. Now, to the rest of our participants, last 200 pesos is at stake. This might be yours. Let's watch the next film.
Will you go out with me?
No!
No?
Damn, my hand's slipping.
Okay, fine. I'll go out with you.
No, don't do me any favors.
No, I want to.
Say it again.
I want to go out with you.
All right, we'll go out.
Normal not to forget your first love, but I want you for myself. Marry me.
About what we long for.
I saw your picture in the paper, and I just wanted to see if you were okay.
And who we're meant for.
Why didn't you write me? I waited for you for 7 years.
I wrote you every day for a year.
Okay, interesting. I got a lot of answers here in the chat box, and there may be just one answer. The Notebook. Some typed just Notebook, but most of you typed The Notebook. So do we have a winner already? Let's reveal the title. And yes, it is The Notebook. Everyone's very familiar with the film. We have our last winner for this game. We have Jezreel Bernaldez. Congratulations, Jezreel. You will also receive 200 pesos in your GCash account. Send your GCash account number to us here in the chat box and wait for your prize. Look for ARIVA Academy Philippines. Okay, that is where you'll be sending your GCash account number. Congratulations to our 2 winners. Now we'll move on with my other announcements. Stay on top of our insights and updates. Stay connected with ARIVA Academy. Join ARIVA Academy's Facebook group. Like ARIVA Academy's Facebook page. You can also follow ARIVA Academy in LinkedIn, and also please visit our website, www.arriva.com.ph. And I would like to invite everyone to be a part of the growing ARIVA Academy Viber community. Join us there, scan the QR code or input the number so that you can be part of our Viber community. Now, for those of you who might have missed the free live webinars that we had, you can still catch them via our YouTube channel. Subscribe to these channels, ARIVA Academy and ARIVA Talks. I also would like to invite you to some of our upcoming learning events. Here are some of them. We have a professional business writing essentials. Sharpen your business writing skills today. This will happen on October 13th. On October 19th, the 7th Small Claims Court for Debt Collection and Dispute. Strategy management, develop strong leadership skills and business acumen. This will be on October 20th. The 12th Accounting for Non-Accountants on October 21. Another free live webinar will happen this time on October 25. Psychological safety in the workplace. Effective workplace discipline, the management prerogative of line managers and supervisors on October 26. On October 27, strategic thinking, analysis, and business sales execution. And People and Labor Relations Forum 2022 will be on October 28 and October 29. Season 1, again, will be on October 28. Season 2 on October 29. We have invited a lot of speakers for these 2 days. So we are really inviting everyone to be a part of the People and Labor Relations Forum 2022. Another free live webinar will be on November 4, Strategic Workforce Planning in a Post-COVID World. And the next free live webinar is on November 8, Actionable Employee Retention Strategies for Keeping Your Best Talent. The 10 Essentials of Effective Logistics Operations and Warehouse Management on November 11. November 17, we have Production Planning, Managing Inventory and Stock Control Operations. How to handle hazardous materials safely and prevent warehouse incidents on November 25. And for those of you who are interested in inviting our speakers to conduct a program exclusive for your team, ARIVA Academy can help you with your in-house training needs. You can call us or send us an email. Just let us know what topic you have in mind. Here are some of the programs that we offer, but we have a lot more than that. So just give us a call and we'll help you partner with the right speaker under ARIVA Academy Speakers Bureau for that. Okay, there you have it. Now I'll be giving the floor back to Dr. Sid. Hi, Dr. Sid. I'll help you go back to the answers that we got here in the chat box. We have a lot of them. Let me just check.
Kate, go ahead. Read me some of those questions or those answers.
Yes, just going back one moment. Okay, here are some of the answers. This is from Rose Ann Manangan. She said the fear of change, lack of budget, and lack of innovation mindset. Jolina Sala, here's her answer, job opportunities to the unexperienced ones. From Arsenio Arellano Jr., number 1 is management obligation. Number 2, poor communication and feedback. And number 3, lack of awareness. Communication for Elaine, culture, and lack of motivation. That's the answer of Elaine. This is from Marks Edmund. Number 1 is lack of worker participation or awareness. Number 2, work ethics and attitude. Number 3, lack of communication from top management. From Marvin, number 1, no set of company systems, standards, and policy. Number 2, lack of communication. And number 3, company set culture. From Melito, lack of communication, budget, hospitality, culture, unresponsive. He has more than 3 challenges. This is from Mirna, afraid of accepting commitment and responsibilities. From Joanna May, number 1 is communication. Number 2, allocation of funds. Number 3, lack of employees. Okay, who else? Mary Joy is saying number 1, poor communication. Number 2, attitude of employees. And number 3, the task itself. Okay.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much, Kate. These are very good inputs. And usually when we do an assessment, we start with this type of conversation. We start by engaging the company, engaging the senior leadership, and engaging the employees around these topics and these challenges. So these are very good examples that you have mentioned. And I hope you will get a chance in the future to address those questions, because if you are relying on innovation, then probably you will not be able to achieve without facing those challenges that you have mentioned. So if my screen is visible to you, I am going just to carry on. I have only maybe 2 or 3 slides, and I will finish my talk, and then I will open the floor to my friend Jim, who will probably say a couple of words and then answer any of your questions. So, Kate, I am going to move to my next slide if the slide is visible.
Yes, it is visible. We can see it.
Thank you so much. So based on what we have said, our company, the Harrington Management System, has an offer and has a consulting approach to help organizations develop, again, understand those challenges and develop an innovation management system. And one of those approaches I will be talking about them now is to help you figure out where you stand in terms of the innovation management system and what you need to do to be able to create one. This is the Pdca cycle or model that I spoke about earlier. And the entire standard is written around these different portions, if you will, of the standard. So always, always, always we start with opportunities and intent. An opportunity is what are the many opportunities that are offered in the market that you want to take advantage of if you want to be innovative? Or what is the challenge that you want to solve? What is the problem that you want to solve? Or what is the intent of innovation that you want to have. So that's the beginning, which is the opportunity intent, and that's on the left of your screen. On the right, it's the outcome, which is the innovation value. What is the innovation value that you want to add? So that's basically your pipeline of ideas. And you start always with identifying the opportunity. You create the concept, you validate the concept, you develop the solution, and then you deploy the solution. These are the 5 steps of a typical innovation operation system. And it goes from 1 to 2, and then 2 to 1, and then 2 to 3, and 3 to 1, always in a very iterative way. And then, of course, you have always to think of the context of the organization, external and internal issues, culture, collaboration. Some of the stuff that you have mentioned, the funding is very important, the culture is very important, the collaboration is very important. Then leadership, the commitment, the vision, and the strategy. This is what I explained in terms of different types of strategies and the policy and the communication of that vision. So that's chapter 5. And then you go to the Pdca cycle that I talked about earlier. And the Pdca is simply plan, do, check, and improve. In the plan, you've got the planning process. And then in the do, basically, you are implementing what you have said you will be doing. And then you always check, that's the performance evaluation. And you always act on this performance evaluation, which is providing the improvement. So that's a full 360-degree approach, if you will, to the entire innovation management system. Now, what we do, we come into your organization, Jim and myself, and then we look at your organization and we assess the framework for your organization. We will map out how your organization stands in comparison to the ISO 56002. We'll tell you your company is here and the standard is asking for these things. So if you do those things, probably you will meet the standard. And then we will tell you what exactly you need to do. Do you want to work on motivation? You want to work on HR, you want to work on marketing, you want to work on insights, you want to work on context. What are the things? That's a roadmap. That's the roadmap that we want to provide to you and to your companies. And by the way, we did this for many, many companies, and we do this all the time. So this is the offer that we would like to do. So we help your organization identify and define its present innovation management system. We help your organization always compare to other organizations or to other systems. And more importantly, what we do, we will make recommendations. This is what I called earlier the roadmap. We will make recommendation on changes that could be made to the present innovation management system, and things that are measurable, things that will add value, and things that will be implementable for you as an organization. And then we will tell you if the present system is in keeping with the requirement and the intent of 56002, we will issue a certificate for you. We'll provide a document that will show that company X and Y is in has a system that is either in compliant or is being validated by us as a system that has basics and the component of innovation. I wanted to thank you very much, Kate, and all my colleagues here, the technical team, for making this a wonderful learning opportunity for me and for my friends. I wanted to open up this session to some questions. But before that, I wanted to give the mic to Jim, who is going probably to say a few words, and then we will open up for conversation. So Kate or Jim, go ahead. The mic is yours.
I'll grab it. Here I am. I'd like to emphasize why it's so important, 56002. There is a tendency to say that because this is a recommendations type standard, it's not mandatory, we don't have to live with it. But as we explained, there is a mandatory one that's going to come down about 2 years from now. Now, for our clients, we have a real gem for them, because what we're going to do is we're going to build a system, help them build a system in place that when the mandatory comes out, they're going to be there already. In fact, they're going to be ahead of it. And what will happen, the people that wait for the mandatory one to come out, they'll have to install one, and that will take 6 months to 9 months. And then they'll have to have 6 months minimum of actual operation before they can be certified. So if you pick up now and you say, we're going to build a good, innovative quality or innovative management system, and we can build it today, we can build it to the point that it is going to meet the mandatory standard when it comes out, and you're going to be 2 years ahead of your competition. So it's a really a good way for here in the Philippines to get a jump over some of the things that are going on in the United States and in some of the more countries that really have a little better system today. But if they work real quick, I think you can jump ahead and really make up a big difference between them. So that's one thing I'd like to point out. I think the other thing I'd like to point out is I heard a lot of people talking about the attitude, the promotion, the ability to move up. I think that's a very important factor. What you really need to do is now think as individuals is, how do I prepare myself so that I'm the most promotable? When it comes to a promotion job, there's always 2 or 3 people that can do the job. And what do? You select the one that's best prepared. You as individuals need to say, if I really want to move in my company, I want to be the next one that's going to be promoted. And I'm going to make myself very promotable. And there's some very good programs out right now that will help you develop your techniques of how you become more promotable, how you actually behave and interface, and how you develop yourself so you're more promotable where you're going. You got to have a good idea of what career path you want to go. So that whole idea of personal, well, I call it personal coaches to the individuals. The city of Dubai asked us to come in and restructure the whole city. They said, let's make it, we want to be more customer centric. And so we looked at everything, every job that was going on, what was going on, every manager's job. And we rewrote every manager's job, so it was very different. And what it turned out, it was a very important thing, because immediately we saw movement forward in managers, first of all, that really was good technical people, and they didn't really like to do the manager's job. They didn't like to worry about the budgets. And so we found a parallel path for them to grow where it's just as good as being a manager. And the managers developed a new thought pattern. And right now, we're working with a hospital. And the hospital, first thing that we're working with is empowerment. We're focusing a 2-month theme on empowering our people. And what we're actually doing in the healthcare is very interesting. Healthcare is a dynamic environment. There's so much going on that any doctor, any nurse has just kept busy, just keeping up with their technology, just understanding what's going on related to what their basic competency is. And so they don't have time to take care of themselves. And so what we did is said, what we want to do, instead of giving 9,000, ISO 9000, Six Sigma comes in and they come in with all these different tools, and they give you so many tools that you go back to work and you never use them. You grab 1 or 2 and use. I'm a believer in give them one tool, we'll concentrate on it for a short period of time, have them master that tool, and the next 2 months, you move up the ladder. We're building a stairway in healthcare that we're very, very effective, where we're actually, you're starting at a level, And over a period of time, there is 12 different steps in that stairway. And each of them are small training, 2 4 hours of training is all that it is related to any one of the steps. But then there's a workbook that you use to move forward. And it's exciting to see how fast people move and the enthusiasm that they get out of that fact that they are growing. And I think it's very important that when we start talking about, the individual and where we want to be with a real dynamic company that is very innovative, you get innovative because everybody is thinking about how we can be better. What can we do now? Coming up with ideas. And truly, I want every one of your people to think, this is the place that I'm so happy to come to work. I can't wait for Monday to come around. And truly, that's the attitude we've got to focus on. And I think that when you start talking about a basic empowerment, a very, very important thing as far as innovation is concerned. We have 2 different courses. We have how do you manage an innovative workforce, and then how do you serve an innovative workforce. There's very, very nice programs that we can show you. So the key here, I think, is there's lots of opportunity. And I think that the Philippine people have proven time after time that they're hard workers, they're diligent, they're good thinkers, and you are in a prime place to jump forward really fast. And now's the time to do it. So that's my talk as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you very much.
It's a good spot for future quick growth. You're about ready to jump forward if you want to jump.
Thank you very much, Jim. This is actually very powerful thought coming from someone with your background and your historical perspective and all the work you have done. You have taught us a lot at the American Quality Society or in other capacity. Jim is in San Francisco in the Bay Area now. I think it's about 8 p.m. Myself, I am in Dubai. It's 7:08. And it's just great to be talking to great people from Philippines, I think, where it is about 10 or 11:08. So the mic is yours, Kate. Go ahead and share with us some questions. We want to open up this to a conversation so we can help participants understand what innovation means and what are some of the things that we can help them with.
Thank you so much, Dr. James and Dr. Sid. Okay, so now we're opening the floor for questions. For those of you who have questions, please type them in the chat box or click the raise hand button. You can ask your questions directly to our speakers so you can better explain your situation. If there's a clarification that you want to ask or anything about your situation currently in the office, you can ask them about that. Okay, I have a few questions here while we're waiting for the questions here in the chat box. Okay. This one is from Adrian. How to convince your staff to initiate process improvement in the department?
Maybe Jim can address this because probably he has more experience than myself with process improvement. Jim, do you want to talk about this? Because the question is, how can you convince people in your department about process improvement? So you worked a lot and you published a lot on process improvement. Jim, go ahead.
I believe that the way you convince them is to start thinking about what are our opportunities. Let's look at opportunities for improvement. And everybody, it goes around complaining. We sat at the coffee machine and we complain that the cup didn't come out. There's tons of little complaints that you can have. And when you get to the point that when you take those complaints, those ideas, and start to react and do something with them, this is an important factor. I really think when you start talking about it, it really starts with behavioral patterns of their executives, of their managers. If the manager, if you bring a problem to your manager and you tell him about the problem, he says, oh, well, don't worry about that. We can take care of that. And never does. Then you get to the point that you don't take care of the things that you should be doing. So I see that that the whole theme here is you train people to believe that they can do error-free. In fact, I like to think about people doing error-free work. Let me ask you a quick write your name in the air. Just write your name in the air. Raise your hand. Okay. It took you 8 seconds to do it. Okay. Did you make any errors in doing it? Oh, you didn't make any errors. Good for you. I'm making you a member of Harrington's error-free team. You're my first Philippine error-free team member, okay?
Thank you.
Now, if, did you misspell it?
I definitely did not.
Why? The reason you didn't misspell it is because, remember back when you were 4 years old and the letters worked backwards and you couldn't?
Yes.
You spent,
I misspelled it before.
10 years for my quiz so that you could pass that quiz and spell your name right. So first, the thing a manager has to do is provide training for their employee. They have to train the employee to do their job. So that's T number one that we're talking about. Now, T number two. Now, if I said you had to do it in 2 seconds, you would have failed, right? You got 8 seconds. You're terrible. I wanted 2. Why you didn't do your job good? No, manager. You got to give it the second T is time. You got to give them the time to do the job and to do it right. Not pressure them. That's got to be done now. Not look over your shoulder all the time and say, what is it? Not come in and say, oh, that's not the way I will do it. That's not what it is. You got to give them time. You got to let them express themselves. And certainly, can you guess what the last T is? Guess. I've given you the tools, the time.
Treasure? I don't know.
Technique. You got to have a technique to do it. I've got to provide you with the tools. The key is tools to do the job. The key to that is in management is you got to give the 3 T's: the time, the training, and the tools. And that's the starting point. When you start putting that together in the right combination, things really happen.
Thank you so much, Dr. James. Thank you so much for that answer. Okay, Adrienne, I hope you took note of that. We have another question here in the chat box. This is, okay, one moment. This is from Maria Lourdes Maglata. Here's her question. Okay, my question is more of the standard rather than about innovation per se. I am trying to draw the line between ISO 5002 and the upcoming ISO 5001, which I believe will define the requirement. What basically is the difference between the two standards?
Happy to take this, Kate. Well, first of all, the two standards are different in the sense that 56002 is a guidance and 56001 is a mandatory. So the 56002, you don't have to have all the clauses in your organization because it's simply guidance. This is basically the community of experts wanting to help organizations to develop an innovation management system. No one is going to ask you to say, oh, are you certified to be an innovative organization. So that's when it comes to 56002. 56001, which is in the making, will be mandatory in the sense that if you are saying that I am truly an innovative organization, then as a market participant, I would expect that you have a certificate from an organization such as ISO that says that you are an innovative company. So that's the difference between 56002 and 56001. Now, I cannot tell you what will be in 56001 for a very simple reason, because we're still working on it. So no one can tell you what will be in that standard. You will have to wait until 2023. When this standard will be published, you will be able to understand when it. But like Jim has just said, if you start working on 56002, and if you start training your employees and training your systems on innovation management system, when 56001 hits the market, then you are already ready. You are about 50% to 60% ready to be certified. That's different from someone who just starts from scratch in 2023 and wants to be certified in 2023. So that's the difference between the two.
I would like to add to that my own personal views. I like 2. Why do I like 2? Because 2 can be, I can reach out and I can say, oh, gee, this is the way it really would be nice. I can brainstorm. I can say, I can put things in it that, oh, it's very hard to do. In 1 says, this is what you've got to do. So that says, 1 says, this is what every company has to do. In other words, 1, make sure you're average. 2, I have the opportunity to make you a Google, which is far better than what he was if I just was certified at 1. So truly, I see that there's huge opportunity for us to take a company past 1. So when 1 comes out, it's much better than it. And it's better because it's got a sound base, and it was allowed to dream. It was allowed to be innovative. And it was allowed to be very, very customized to your specific product. That's fine. Send me both agree. We're very excited with our companies to say, hey, now's the time to do it. Don't wait. Now's the time to start changing your system. Now's the time to make more money, and you're going to make more money by coming out with newer and better product. It's more competitive. And that's what innovation's about, to make more money. That's all we're in business for, to make more money. At least that's what I'm in for. I don't know about you.
I think everyone here will agree to that, Dr. James. Thank you for the answers, Dr. Sid and Dr. James. Next question, it was sent to us here in the chat box again. What is the difference between ISO 900s and ISO 5600s?
Yes, I'm happy to take this. As I said in my introduction, ISO, the International Organization for Standardization, has more than 3,000 standards. Every standard or each standard has a specific focus. So the 9001, this is the most known standard. It's the most popular standard because it talks about quality. How do you make a good quality product? How do you manage quality inside your organization? How do you make sure that all the systems inside your organization are or following the principle of quality? So that's the 9001, and it's very popular because you see it in a lot of organizations: manufacturing, service, government, airline, banking, finance. Every single organization wants to tell the world, wants to tell the customer, wants to tell the market that my organization has a good quality product. So that's 9,000. It's an old standard, and Jim has been involved in writing this standard for the last 15 years. And it's actually an honor to be with him, working with him, because he wrote the standard. So he's telling people how to make your product a good product from a quality point of view. 56002 is about innovation, is not about quality, how you can make your company an innovative company. If you want your company to be like the most innovative company, like Google and all the companies, and Apple, all the companies you know about, then you needed to follow the standard, and you need to start thinking about the standard, which is 56002. So that's the difference between the two standards.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that answer. Okay, next question. This one is from Carlos Garcia Jr. Can ISO prevent corruption in our government? Interesting question.
Well, if you have a very good quality system, if you have a checks and balances, if you have a system that is transparent, if you are following the rules, you should be able to identify the spots where corruption may or may not happen. If you have a system that identifies, for instance, the vendors, and you have a platform that is transparent to everybody, so we see where the vendor is in terms of applying for different contracts, because most of corruption happens around this area, then probably you are going to be able to identify those employees who may not act in the best interest of the organization and think only of themselves. So you will be able to do it. ISO quality 9000, the purpose of ISO 9001 is not corruption, but it's actually to quality, how to create quality in your system. So a good system or a good quality system with all these checks and balances can help you identify opportunities where you can improve, but also you can spot some misbehavior that can affect the organization.
Wow.
Standards in the United States has just come out with a new standard. It's quality for government offices. And it's actually going to really address a lot of the problems that you're talking about. It's a brand new standard. I believe it's the only standard available that calls for measurement of government functions, how well they're performing.
Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, I'll move on to the next question. This is from Edgar Gonzalez. Our company is already ISO 9001 certified. Is it necessary or mandatory to be ISO 56001 certified in the future? Is it mandatory?
Yes, I can answer this question. You are already certified 9001. That's for the quality. So that tells me that your company is a great company. They follow the quality system. But is your company an innovative company? Is your company doing what it does to become more innovative company and being at the head of everybody else in the competition? If you want your company to be an innovative company, then you can start with the 56002, the one I just explained, and the one that I just wrote a book with Jim about, to start thinking about what your company can do to become more innovative. Quality is good, but it's not going to be enough. The world has changed. The global market has redefined a new entrant and new business practices. So it is important for you to go beyond the quality. Quality is just the basics and you have it, so that's wonderful. But now you would want to be more innovative. And if you want to do that, then 56002 give you a chance to think about the things that you need to do. And then in the future, 56001 will allow you to be more certifiable for innovation.
My reply is, you're never required to be certified to anything. You do that because it's good business. You know, the majority of the small consulting firms out here, I'll bet you are not certified to 9,000. They don't need you. They made that decision. You're not forced into it. It's something that you think is important to you, and maybe it's your customer says you got to have it. But it's only when somebody requires it of you, or you believe it's the right thing to do. And I'm always sorry if you have to wait till somebody requires it. It should be something that you think is the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sure Edgar really appreciates your answer. Okay, I have another question here from another participant. He's curious about the role of ISO 5600 in digital transformation.
This is actually a very, very good question. Thank you for asking this question. Digital transformation is a critical element. Everybody is going through a digital transformation, some sort of digital transformation. Myself, I have been working on this issue for the last 7 or 10 years. I am advising Dubai government in the United Arab Emirates on digital transformation. And the standard 56002 talks about innovation. And when you talk about innovation, you can innovate anywhere. You can innovate in digital, you can innovate in process, you can innovate in project. In product, you can innovate in service. Once you have the mindset of innovation, then you are, the world is yours, I would say. When it comes to digital transformation, there is also a huge field about the digital innovation, how you can innovate in the digital world itself. If you follow the standard 56002, you have the basics of innovation, which you can apply in many, many industries. But if you really want to get a step ahead of the world, then you start probably moving to other standard in terms of artificial intelligence, a standard that ISO is also working on now, and how you can think of the different things you are doing in your organization to create an AI environment that helps you become a company ahead of the competition.
Okay, anyone else who would like to ask a question? We still have room for a few more questions. By the way, you can also check here. You can also check here in the chat box the links so that you can contact our speakers. For those of you who would like to avail of their services, grab a copy of their books, and also get the free executive briefing from our speakers. Give them a call or send them an email. Just click the link that's here in the chat box. Okay, there's another question. One moment. Okay, this one's from Earl Flores. Is AI a vital part of innovation?
Yes, I would say probably the most innovative issues we are talking about today is artificial intelligence. I mean, if you are like producing cars or making juice or making drinks or making food, and you are able to introduce artificial intelligence into your assembly line, then you probably have a competitive edge over people. If you are using analytics, meaning knowing about your customer base, then you have an edge over the competition. So I would say artificial intelligence is the technology that will redefine our work, and it's the breakthrough and the transformational innovation that will happen in the next 10 to 15 years. So the sooner you get into it, the better you are.
We have a book on the transformation. We call it TIME. It stands for Total Innovative Management Excellence. And its model is a pyramid. And the pyramid is made up of 15 building blocks. And one of those 15 building blocks is set aside purely for AI. That's how important it is. So it's one of the 15 basic building blocks of the transformation from where we are to where we're going.
There you go. I hope that answers your question, Earl. Thank you. Moving on to another question. This is from Joy. Will the ration of people certified with ISO 5600 affect the certification of ISO 56001? Okay, I'm sorry. Will the ration of people certified with ISO 56002 affect the certification of ISO 56001?
No, it will not. Ideally, if your company wants to be certified in 9000, that's good. But if you are certified already in 9000, then it's going to be relatively easier for you to be certified in 56001. Now, we are talking about a few different things here. We're talking about ISO 9001, that's quality. And then we're talking about ISO 56002, that's an innovation. That's not a requirement, that's just a guidance. Then we're talking about the future of innovation standard, which is 56001. All of these are independent from each other, and you can get one, you don't have to get the other ones. But a good company is the company, as Jim said, that is good with its own business. You don't have to have a standard to be good. But if you want to prove to the world that you are good and you are truly good, then you probably can get 9000 and 56002, and then 56001 later. But those standards are independent from each other. You can get one, you don't have to get the other one as well. You need just to focus and to think about what you want to do.
Let me just go back here in the chat box for the other questions. Okay, this one is from Dandy. Is ISO 56002 best applicable to the construction industry? Will it apply still for the construction industry?
The 56002, it's simply a set of best practices in innovation, and it applies to every single industry. It applies to construction, it applies to airline, it applies to fashion, it applies to food and beverages, it applies to media. It's basically teaching your people and teaching your management how to become innovative. And if you look at the construction industry, probably the construction industry has been one of the most innovative industries. If you look at the building we're building now, and you compare them to the building we built maybe 10 or 15 years ago, those are different buildings, especially in the eco-green construction segment. All of that stuff is innovation. And some companies are doing very, very good in terms of managing construction, but some companies are not doing very, very good. And those are the companies that perhaps need to start working and teaching and providing their management and their employees with innovation. Remember, a standard, it's simply a set of best practices. A standard, it's simply a set of frameworks and tools that make your people more innovative. So it applies to every single industry.
Okay, I'll move on to the next question. We still have a few here. This is from Mark John. What is the difference between management-oriented processes and support-oriented processes?
I think it's very simple to say that in a management-oriented process, you are particularly talking about how the process applies to the management staff, or how you are actually managing those processes. And in the support-oriented process is how you can define and identify the different processes that support functions and support different things in the organization. But again, those are simply technical differences with no bearing on the innovation or on the standard we're talking about. And those are concepts and terminologies that can help your organization probably develop a better approach to innovation.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And the next question. This is again from Joy. Say a company has employees with 56002 certification. Will it be easier for the company to get the 56001 certification as well?
Yes, that's actually the point. That's the point Jim has been trying to make, that if you move now and you get certified, or you get audited, or you get someone to look at your innovation management system using the 56002, then it is easier for you when the required standard will be published. The 56001 will be published in 2023. This is the date we're thinking about now. It will be easier for your company to move fast, because you would have already put together and put the foundation, if you will, of innovation. That would be different from someone else, a different company that has never implemented any framework or any tools for innovation. So yes, it's a good question, and the answer is yes.
Thank you for that. Okay. Oh, okay, here's another question. This one's also interesting. This is from Emmanuel Amador. Is it ideal to get the ISO innovation first compared to the other ISOs?
No, you don't have to. It all depends on the objective of your company. I think we have seen more companies getting into the quality, which is 9001. So most of companies have done a good job in getting this certification, because it's an older standard. It's a basic standard, and it's more popular and more democratic standard. But you don't have to have one to get the other one. It all depends on what you want to get as an organization. Again, those are simply tools and frameworks. I mean, it doesn't mean, when you get a standard, doesn't mean that you really are the standard, because you can be certified for 9000, but the quality is not really good. And you could be certified for 56002, but you are not really innovative organization. So the real work is actually the customer who will say it. The customer will say that you are quality or you are innovative. But if you want your employees to learn, if you want your employees to progress, if you want your employees to develop, if you want to stay ahead of the competition, if you want to be in the current world in which we live in, then of course you need to have those standards.
Okay, thank you.
The real driver for 9000 is the fact that so often it's called out as part of the purchase requirements. In order to quote on it, you got to have 9000. In other words, to get into the starting gate, that's one of the clipping things that they have. You know, is your company financially stable? Do you have any outstanding debts against your company? So these are one of the things that has got to be pretty much a standard one with many companies. Say the company that we want to have as a certified supplier should be certified to 9000, and that just automatically requires you to do it. And it turns out to be one of the bad things about it, because 9000 is just one of the quality standards. There's a whole group of quality standards. I have one machine shop that works, and it has 4 different quality standards it has to meet, because he's working for the auto industry and they have a different standard. And so a lot of the standard work is driven because it's part of the purchase requirement. And there's where what makes something mandatory. The government doesn't make it mandatory. It's your customer that says, I want it.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, next one. Here's a question. Innovation will take place in an organization. What should we look into or be cautious about in an organization while innovation is taking place?
Jim, you want to take this? Maybe you have more input on that.
Well, I think that what happens is there's a great deal of risk involved when they're being innovative. But that's when the growth is. We have a heavy fall rate. The average, 20% of the innovative products actually make the sales. Down through the process, you lose so many. Good idea. That sounds good. Well, okay, we can't manufacture it. Okay, it's in conflict with some other patent. So when you're in an innovative mode, those products that are going through the cycle are very, very error prone. And that's the reason that what we've talked about in innovation, get in, do it, make an error, correct it, and go forward. Where in quality, we say, let's do it error-free. To error is bad. With innovation, we're saying, we know we're going to have to experiment with things. We're going to check out different ideas. And some of those are going to be bad. So you have a higher exposure rate for very high innovative companies, but also they have a much bigger return because if their product comes out, they walk away with the market.
Okay, thank you. Another question here. Let me just check here in the chat box. Okay. Would ISO certification rates depend on the organization size? Smaller companies have less budget than big companies, so they may not be able to afford the ISO rate. Will it depend on the size of the company?
No. ISO 50. Well, there are two questions here. ISO 56002 can be applied to any organization, small, medium, or big. Usually big organizations, they have more resources and many people to implement innovation, so it's much easier for them. But for small and medium organizations, they can apply ISO 56002, but if they don't have enough money or if they don't have funds, then of course they will not find someone to certify them. That does not mean that they cannot apply the frameworks and the tools, because they can just go and buy the standard from ISO bookstore. I think it costs about $200 to buy a standard, read the standard, and you can implement it yourself. But to be certified, then you will have to hire a third party like Jim or myself to do the certification and give you the certificate.
Okay, next one. Okay, is there a standard percentage that needs to be met to get ISO certification?
For the mandatory one, yes, you have to meet every single clause or every single statement in the standard. So if there are 5 statements or 5 clauses, you have to meet all of them to get certified. 56001, the mandatory ones, it's black and white. It's either you have it or you don't have it. If you have it, you are certified. If you don't have it, you get certified next time. And then we will give you a roadmap on what to do to get certified. 56002, no, you don't have to have certain amount. All that you need to do is to show me that you thought about the idea or about the statement, and then you considered it and maybe you implemented or maybe you have not. And I will ask you why you have not implemented. And if you are providing a reasonable, logical reason, either budget or funding or does not apply to you or your industry is not in that, then that is totally fine. That's why we say always we talk about the intent when we talk about the 56002.
Thank you so much. And that is our last question for this morning. Dr. Seed, can you tell them where they can contact you and how they can get in touch with you and Dr. James so that if ever they're interested in getting your services?
We are happy to get any thoughts or questions or services. I think in one of my slides, I had my email address. Let me again put it one more time. I'll show you my email address and Jim's email address. So you have them. You have them here. I think you can see them on the screen. You can either contact Jim or myself by email. Of course, LinkedIn also is another option where both Jim and myself are on LinkedIn.
I already sent it both your emails and links of your books to Amazon.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you. I appreciate your help. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Ms. Vicky, for helping us out. Thank you to our speakers. It has truly been a very wonderful morning spent with you guys. Now, we'd like to present you with a certificate. Let me just read this. So we have two certificates. The first one, here it is, ARIVA Academy Learning Development at its finest gratefully presents the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Sid Ahmed Ben Rowan for generously sharing his professional expertise and valuable knowledge and wisdom to the delegates of using the ISO 56002 Innovation Management System, held on October 6, 2022 via Zoom platform. And the next one is for, again, I gratefully presents a certificate of appreciation to Dr. H. James Harrington for generously sharing his professional expertise and valuable knowledge and wisdom to the delegates of using the ISO 56002 Innovation Management System, held on October 6, 2022 via Zoom platform, signed by Chairman and Chief Strategist, Learning Event Producer J.M. Matienzo, and President and Chief Learning and Development Strategist, Michelle Irish Malonda Samson. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our speakers, Dr. Sid and Dr. James.
Thank you very much. A beautiful, beautiful certificate.
Thank you. Really, the pleasure is ours, and we are very honored that you answered our invitation this morning. Thank you so much. Now, it's time for us to get a group photo with our speakers. So for those of you whose cameras are still off, if you can turn it on, please do so. Join us in this group photo with our speakers. And we will be assisted by our technical director this morning, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Miss Kate. Okay, guys, please open your camera before we start for the group picture. Come on, guys. Please open your camera. Okay, let's wait for the others. Okay, I think we're good. Get ready for the first shot. Show me your beautiful smiles. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, one more. This time, let's do a thumbs up naman po. Let's do a thumbs up, guys. Okay, come on, thumbs up. Get ready. And 3, 2, 1, smile. Thank you so much. Back to you, Miss Kate.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Sid and Dr. James. And thank you so much also, Miss Vicky. In behalf of everyone from ARIVA Academy, we would like to thank all of our participants for being with us on this tremendous Thursday morning. It has been a blast having all of you, and we're looking forward to welcoming you again in our future learning events. God bless you all, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Happy, sha-la-la. It's so nice to be.
Mag-join sila. Kung gusto nyo mag-join anytime, kahit hindi sila, walang technical lumapit sa nila. Pwede nila. Mabilis lang yun.